out. I feel the room sway and the band sway. One of our favorite tunes from a band. So take a rap balance and do the left, left balance. Gotta never know my way you get.
Okay, everybody, that was Louis Armstrong with Hello, Dolly. Right, Spot? Right. Okay. I'm setting up a series of, I hope, short videos. I'm trying to keep them under 20 minutes each, so that particularly my Monday, Wednesday group that meets at 2 o'clock can get through some of this T account material and then the monetary policy stuff. I'll probably need 3 videos to do that. I'm trying to do it all tonight, Monday night, before the exams start. Tomorrow, Tuesday the 6th, and Wednesday, and then through the rest of the week. For the other macro groups, this is review. I'm not going to do anything new. I'm not going to do any T accounts that you haven't seen before. In particular, the Monday and Wednesday group I have in mind now. Okay? Anyway, I'm using material from the Mocktest V, as I hope is obvious. I'm going to do 2 T accounts that are on the front page, the first page of the mock test. We have a reserve ratio of 10%, and I'm just going to get right into it so that we can efficiently work through all these problems. These are the types of problems that I have on the exam. Obviously, there are all these questions in the mock test are from all exams, and so this is what you should be prepared to be able to do. This is the kind of problem that you have to show all your work. All right, so I'm going to take Merrill first. Merrill's a little easier. All right, she has $65,000 in cash, $420,000 in loans, and $485 total demand deposits. So let's straight away calculate excess reserves. We need the monetary base, $65,000, minus the quantity, 1/10 of the 485 figure. That's a multiply sign there. 485,000. So in the parentheses is always the calculation for the required cash reserve. How much does this bank need to hold against all these demand deposits? At a reserve ratio of 1/10, Merrill needs $48,500. She has 65,000 bucks. So obviously she has more than enough. She has positive excess reserves. Let's figure it out. You got 500, right? And it would be 16,500, right? For a figure that's greater than 0, excess reserves, 16,500. So that's your answer. The follow-up question is always something like, well, what is the condition of her bank then? If she has positive excess reserves, we say that she's not fully loaned up. Not fully loaned up, FLUP for short. Okay? One thing you know that Merrill can do, as we did today with the example in class of Holly at 10%, we know with these positive excess reserves, she has the option of making more loans. If she can make more loans, then the question is, well, how much more in loans can she make? That gets us into the remaining loaning potential. All right, so let's go option A, make loans. I'm writing a little sideways here. Try to save space. She can make loans. The the remaining loaning potential is an easy formula to remember. Just take the excess reserves times the money multiplier, and you get the key number. All right, so what happens there? 16,500 times a money multiplier of 10. Where's 10 come from? 1/10 flipped over. Clearly that's $165,000. So she can make that one loan, or she can make a group of loans worth that amount, and she'll be fully loaned up. All right, so that is a key task, key kind of question that I'm apt to ask, and a key kind of task that you should be able to do. All right, so let's adjust the T account as we did for Holly, and I think during class today we did Polly. We did all sorts of, a few examples of this. With this 165, we're going to insert it somewhere on the T account, first on the left-hand side as a new loan. Right there. And then what? On the right-hand side. Because every loan creates a demand deposit. So we mark that. Demand deposit. And now we have to revise the bottom line because we just added assets to the tune of $165,000 on each side. Well, assets on the left side, liabilities on the right side. All right, what's that total going to be? Maybe you can figure it out already. I'll do it in blue. $650,000. $650 on the left, $650 on the right. 65,000 plus 420 plus 165 really is 650,000. So there's a little crowded in here. I want to try to save paper and such, but that's how we did it this afternoon with Holly, Polly, and those examples. Here we have it again from the very first page on the mock test. So that's how you handle typically the banks that have positive excess reserves, the banks that are not fully loaned up. Okay? We're going to learn later on in another video, or maybe if I can squeeze it in this one, that Merrill does have another option. But let's save that, leave that there for now, and let's go to Pearl. Pearl is like Dolly. Dolly from the handout that we used today. She has bonds in the portfolio. She's made loans. She's all sorts of things. But if you can examine the figures carefully, you'll see almost immediately that she's overextended. Because she has $38,500 in cash. She's supporting $470,000 in liabilities, in demand deposits. Right? So, if you just multiply 38,500 times 10, she only should be around 385. Or if you take 1/10 of 470, well, you're going to get 47,000. She doesn't have that. So let's do the math and figure out exactly what her position is and how much and all that. But you should expect a negative number because she's not at that 1/10 sort of ratio. All right, so here we go. Excess reserves equal 38,500. Bonds are not part of the monetary base. 1/10 times 470,000. No problem. How much cash does she have? We just mentioned the figure before. She's supposed to have 47,000 bucks. She has only 38,500. So she's a little behind the 8 ball here. Let's see if we can figure this out. 47,000 and 9,000. It looks like she's behind 8,500. Agreed? She's supposed to have 8,500 more in cash because she really needs 47,000 bucks. All right, so a quick note, that's less than 0. So the term is overextended. negative excess reserves. Don't forget to put in that vocabulary, even if I forget to ask it explicitly. I'll be looking for that kind of vocabulary. All right, now, this afternoon, earlier today in class, banks like Pearl that are overextended have three options. They could borrow from the Federal Reserve at the discount window, discount rate, because the Fed serves all banks as a loaner of last resort. More likely, she'll go to other banks, less bureaucratic, much more quick. Go to other banks through Fed funds market. The federal funds market is the overnight loaning between banks themselves without the Fed. Although the Fed sort of oversees the activity to some extent. It certainly watches it. At any rate, in this case, she also has bonds. So a follow-up question might be, all right, what happens if she sells the bonds? Option number 3, sell bonds. She has $6,500 in bonds. She's overextended by $8,500. What would happen if she sold the bonds? Option C, sell bonds. Where does she sell bonds? She sells them through open market operations. Open market operations. All right? The Federal Reserve, I always draw it on the left, is going to receive from Pearl in a transaction bonds. The Fed is going to buy those bonds with cash. That's the figure, $6,500. So there's $6,500 in bonds going to the Fed, $6,500 cash. If you can see that there, $6,500 in cash going to Pearl. She makes the sale. What's going to happen? Well, we can wipe these bonds off the books. Done. She's exchanged them for cash. We can add cash separately, $6,500. But it's probably a little more sensible to put it all together. $38,500 plus $6,500 is, I'll write it on top just to be clear, $45,000 cash, which happens to match up with that original demand deposit. But where does that leave her? Classic test question. If she sells all her bonds, as we've illustrated here, does she get her bank in order? Let's do the discount double check. 1/10 of 470 is $47,000, a number we had right there. That's the cash she needs. How much cash did that all add up to? $45,000. So, she's still overextended by $2,000. Of course, the quick way to have seen that, you probably may have picked it up already. If she needs $8,500 and sells the bonds for $6,500, clearly she needs $2,000 more in cash. All right? Because that's the difference between the two. I did it the long way to reinforce what's going on in open market operations. How do you make these little adjustments to the T accounts and so forth? All right? Those are classic test questions. These are the types of exercises you should be alert for. All right, how about I close with a little review of Merrill, and I'm not going to necessarily do the whole T account over again, because you have that. I hope you have it right in front of you as you're watching the video. This thing. It's not there. There you go. All right, well that's going to have to do. Good. Merrill. Right? A moment ago, we were saying that she had $16,500 in excess reserves. Right? We said, okay, she has one option, obviously, to make more loans. But, going to learn something new right this minute. She has another option. She too can take advantage of open market operations and purchase bonds. She really wouldn't want to hold on to $16,500 in money. Money doesn't earn any interest, doesn't work for the bank. Using money, putting it into other assets, creating loans, that's where the banks make their profits. So, what happens? Well, when the bank makes a loan, we apply the money multiplier. 16,500 times 10, oh, she can make more loans of 165. What can she do with bonds? First of all, let's try to conceptualize or illustrate the exchange. Open market operations, again, involves the Federal Reserve and the commercial banks, the big commercial banks. Merrill. Anyway, however you spell it. I'm not sure I spelled it the right way either way. Either time. Anyway, here we go. Merrill's going to exchange something, the Fed's going to exchange something. But with excess reserve, Merrill wants to purchase bonds. So she's going to be willing to sacrifice cash. How much cash? $16,500. That's what she has. So the Fed is going to sell a bond in this instance to Merrill. So the bond heads over to the banker, or the bank. And here's the big question. How much in bonds can she purchase? As I say to all my classes, $1 buys $1 worth of bread, $10,000 buys $10,000 worth of shoes or pizza or anything. Trades are even Steven deals. All right? So the bond value here is $16,500. No money multiplier applies to any of this kind of exchange. None of the exchanges in open market operations have money multipliers involved. Straight up cash for bonds, equal value trades for equal value. All right, so there you go. How would the T account for Merrill look? All right, I'm not going to do all those numbers, but she originally had, let's see, I'll get the paper. She originally had $65,000 in cash, right? And no bonds, right? If she goes through this, she sacrifices cash, and that has to diminish by $16,500. And what has to appear on the same side as an asset is $16,500 in bonds, interest-bearing assets. All the other numbers stay the same. The loan amounts, the demand deposits, both before the bottom line and after the bottom line, same. The original demand deposits, same. Loan, same. The only thing that changes in these open market operations are the cash figures and the bond figures. So, how much cash is left after all is said and done? That cash value will be a number we used before. I'm going to double check. I think it was $48,500. I just don't want to be wrong and get anybody confused. It was $48,500, just as I suspected. That number changes to $48,500, right? Because $16,000 was sacrificed, used to purchase the bonds. That's it. Okay? Very typical problems. I'm going to stop here.